Hello, I'm Dr. Anthony Dallmann-Jones. I have some videos on YouTube on addiction series and so forth. I have a lot on there. Some of them, boy, I had an old camera, and these things need to be updated. So I'm just going to talk about one thing today. It's what John Bradshaw called the shame core. Before him, it was Terry Kellogg. John learned a lot at the feet of Terry Kellogg. Terry's a personal friend of mine. John, I've been to one of his big speeches out in San Diego, but we never met. But I have eaten his book pretty much and watched his videos many times, especially when I was back as a psychotherapist, because I wanted to comprehend why people kept hurting themselves or repeating things over and over again that they knew were going to have bad results. Hooking up with destructive people, even abusive people, going back again and again to addictive substances, overspending, overeating, oversmoking, overdrugging, everything. And part of their mind says, this is stupid. I shouldn't do this. And then they do it. Now that makes me curious. Does that make you curious? That makes me curious as heck as to, if I like come out the door and a brick falls on my head every time. Let's make it a small brick because I'd only come out once. It was big. Let's just say a golf ball drops on my head every time. I mean, am I going to keep coming out the door? I'm going to go find another way out of the place, aren't I? I mean, if I kept coming out, you go, oh, there he did, 472 times, had a golf ball drop on his head, got big lumps all over it. You go, he needs help. Okay. So, of course, I think this is a major question. Why do people keep doing the same things, even though part of their mind says, I'm going to get hurt? This could be disastrous. And they have other choices, but they don't see them. All right. Well, I talked earlier about a process addiction to abuse. That's a little tough to grasp, but I'll just make it quick. That is, if you come out of an abusive family, you have to understand. I mean, I don't forget these things. People, I think, grow up and they forget them because it's too painful to remember and they don't know what to do with the memories. But I don't forget these things. When you're in an abusive family, it's 24/7. You never know when it's coming. You live on the edge of your seat all the time, not knowing when you're going to say the wrong word, look the wrong way, make a mistake, and you're going to catch it. It's an incredible amount of tension, okay? But after a while, it's the Stockholm Syndrome. You begin to identify with your abusers, and you go, they're big, their voices are loud, they have power over my food supply, the money in the family, it's their house, I'm only here for a little while, and they're going to be here long after I'm gone. And I mean, you begin to believe them, sometimes pretty quickly, okay? Well, there are more messages than just the ones coming out of people's mouths, okay? There are messages just by living in that atmosphere. Just by living in that atmosphere, you're absorbing messages all the time, okay? So one of the messages you might absorb is, I'm the kind of person, when it comes to like, who am I, what's my personality, my psyche, my identity. It's very easy to pick up on almost a conscious level, but certainly a subconscious level, that I'm the kind of person who's involved in abuse. Now, it almost, in some ways, it can be receiving abuse, it can be giving abuse, it could be both. Some people, when they're abused, they turn around and they're mean, they hurt cats and people, they do vicious things, they hurt schools, they try to destroy schools with paint, and one kid I knew poured Karo syrup all over the keyboards in the music room, striking out. But other people hurt themselves. They cut on themselves. They do destructive things. They take unnecessary risks. But either way, I know it looks like two different things. One person giving out abuse, one person taking it in. The message is, I'm the kind of person involved with abuse. I'm steeped in it, one way or the other. And maybe it's just a matter of my genetics, whether it's going to be outwardly expressed or inwardly expressed or both. So let's just go with that. That's the process addiction abuse. It has to come out of somewhere, okay? Beneath every addict, beneath every person that's in abuse or abused or abusive is what we call the shame core. Now, this is a little abstract, so I've made a diagram. You can download this. If you are not in my class, you can email me at asdjones@gmail, and I'll mail this to you. Okay, I'm going to show you a chart. Try to make this so you can see it. It's called the layers of defense, hiding the shame core. So let's start right with this part right here. I should point with this. This is the core. Think of this as like the pearl, only this is a dark pearl. And so right down here, where is it? Okay, is that grain of sand that goes underneath the mantle of the oyster, and it starts coating it with something to protect itself. Same difference. Here's a person who feels shamed. They're slapped, they're beaten, they're not wanted, and they feel shame. Now, shame is feeling broken, defective. Something's wrong with me. I'm not right with the world. I don't belong here. Okay, well, that's a terrible feeling. So we create what we call a shame sandwich. One piece of bread is loneliness because you don't want to let anybody in. And the other part is hurt because it hurts to walk around day in and day out feeling like you're worth less, that you're not a full-fledged, righteous human being. It hurts. So this starts the nucleus. Well, this is a powerhouse. The loneliness feeds, the hurt feeds, the shame is the power, and it goes round and round and round and round. Well, it starts to build up layers of what we call primary process defenses. Freud talked about these. They're very real. There's the family spell, which is, a friend of mine once said, well, my family was fine. And I found out later there was all kinds of wacky stuff in that family, but she really meant it. She said, oh, I'm glad. She said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I work with people who, come out of abuse and neglect or addicts or whatever, and dysfunctional families. And she was like, wow, I'm glad I come out of a good family. And we got to know her a little bit, and she did not come out of a good family. So that's it's like a hypnotic spell. We're all fine. Everything's fine. Delusions, that is a delusion, by the way, but we have delusions that I deserve to be hurt, or it's okay if I get smacked around. That's the way the world is, and so forth. Down here, those good old Freudian protective defenses like dissociation and displacement, kicking the wastepaper basket when you're mad at your parents. And what's that last one? Oh, idealizing. The father that smacks you around, you idealize him. And I remember a woman saying, my dad's always wanted to write a book. I'm going to help him. I'm going to spend my life helping him write that book he's always wanted to write. He never wrote the book. And he abused her righteously when she was little. So that's idealizing your abuser. Of course, denial and the family bond, which is very interesting because that's people stick together in a family even though they're hurting each other. Very strange. The second layer is very familiar to a lot of people. It's what we call the family rigid roles. People start playing parts in a dysfunctional family. It's often the birth order. So the oldest one is the champion, is the star, is the go-getter, the achiever, so forth and so on. The second born often is what we call the scapegoat. They're the ones always in trouble, going to jail, breaking the law, running away. Everybody's just in the family shaking their heads going, what's wrong with her or him? Why can't she be like her brother who's like in 3 sports and, getting a 4-point and, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's just bad, DNA, I guess. Okay. Then there's the mascot. That's the person who brings joviality to the family, lighten things up. People always laugh, because they release the tension in the family by being cute, so forth. Outside of that are character defenses, things we do. Can you read these? Okay. Perfectionism, power trips. It's hard to do this in reverse. Sorry about this. Oh, I can't even read that. Oh, the blame game, blaming other people, raging, etc. And then out on the edge, and again, these are all layers of defense. are the self-indulging habits. This is where people are compulsive, are addicted to gambling or working or drugging or drinking or sex or religion. I'm talking about addiction to religion, not being religious. There's a difference. What's that one? Oh, grandiosity, the big spender, the big bragger. Those are all self-indulging habits that people can't stop, usually without treatment. Now, these outside 2 rings often can be helped with 12-step groups or self-help in some cases, or counseling. The 3rd ring usually takes counseling because people are so identified with these family roles they're playing, they think that's them. They think that's real. And same way with the primary process defenses. So the outer 2 rings you can do with self-help sometimes, light counseling, 12-step groups. The inner 2 rings are going to take some heavy counseling. And the deeper you get, the heavier the counseling. And down in here, you may have to get treatment. Okay. And treatment is not like a madhouse or anything. Treatment is more like the Holiday Inn these days. Very nice. As a matter of fact, it sounds real good right now because I'm kind of tired just going through. But no, it's serious business. Okay. But what this all shows is there's a way to understand this, and there's a way out. So stage 1 is the outer ring. That's the recovery process. Rings 3, that's rings 2, 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is called the uncovery process, where you start peeling off some pretty sensitive layers. And then the last ring, the discovery of the true self. And you wind up basically being back who you really are. You know, from the beginning. I mean, it's a travesty in a way that you had to go through all of that to finally get full circle back to being who you are. But it's worth the journey. The other choice is just to spiral downwards in addiction and pain and abuse and loathing and habits and stuff that just drain you and eat you alive. So that's the story of Shame Core. I hope that makes sense. If not, watch this again, print this out, go over it, read John Bradshaw's book on shame. I think it's called the Shame Core, Healing the Something That Binds You. Look up John Bradshaw, Bradshaw. You'll see it. All right, thanks. Hope that made sense. Just wanted to get this across crystal clear, as fast and clear as I could. So you're not alone. If you need help, you're not alone, and there's lots of help. You just have to hold out your hand and let somebody take it. Okay? Right? Make a great night.